Punches.
Tell him we going for Canelo next.
Yes. Let's
him.
go. Canelo, come on.
You heard it from him.
At 36 years old, Terence Crawford has made it clear that he only wants fights that will be remembered in boxing history, and a potential matchup with Canelo Alvarez is seen as the biggest and most important option right now, as both fighters continue to be linked in discussions about a major legacy-defining showdown that could shape how their careers are remembered. Terence Crawford has been aiming for this fight for months, while Mexican superstar Canelo Alvarez also sees it as a major opportunity to strengthen his legacy as one of the best fighters of this era. With strong backing from influential figures in boxing, it now appears that Canelo has been persuaded to move forward with the deal, and has reportedly agreed to the matchup, which brings the long-discussed fight closer to reality. Terence Crawford recently delivered a career-defining performance when he dominated Errol Spence Jr. in a fight that reshaped the welterweight division and strengthened his place in boxing history. From the opening bell, it was clear that Spence, once seen as Crawford's biggest challenge, was unable to match his speed, timing, and ring intelligence. Crawford controlled the fight in every round and eventually stopped Spence in the 9th round. This victory made him one of the first male fighters in the four-belt era to remain undefeated while becoming undisputed in 2 weight classes.
He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's a weight classes for a.
After his impressive performance against Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford is now aiming even higher. He is targeting a fight with Canelo Alvarez, who competes in several weight divisions above him and is one of the biggest names in boxing. For Crawford, this is about legacy and proving himself at the highest level. He is not interested in easier fights or lower challenges, as he wants to be recognized as the best and believes a showdown with Canelo would be the ultimate way to achieve that goal. Canelo Alvarez has shown hesitation about facing Terence Crawford, even though Crawford's achievements have made him one of boxing's top names. Canelo has repeatedly said he would not get much credit for beating a smaller opponent, pointing out that he fights at 168 pounds, while Crawford's most recent fights have been at 147. In his view, the size and power difference makes the matchup less meaningful competitively. At first, Canelo even dismissed the idea of the fight and suggested Crawford should first face someone like Teofimo Lopez, a comment many fans saw as a way of avoiding the matchup rather than seriously engaging with it.
Teofimo first, and then we'll see, right? At the end of the day, like I said before, I'm not asking for that fight. They want to make that fight because it's a payday, obviously. But I don't want that fight. I think
Terence Crawford did not step back as fan and analyst pressure for the fight kept growing. He continued calling out Canelo Alvarez openly, and the demand for a potential showdown increased over time. The situation became more intense after Canelo's recent fight against Edgar Berlanga. That bout was expected to be an easy win for Canelo since Berlanga, although undefeated, was seen as a clear underdog. However, Berlanga surprised many by showing strong toughness and determination, which made the fight more competitive than expected and added more discussion around Canelo's current form and future challenges. Canelo Alvarez started the fight against Edgar Berlanga as expected by taking control early and landing clean shots that showed his experience and power. In the 3rd round, he landed a strong left hook that sent Berlanga to the canvas and made it seem like an early stoppage was coming. But Berlanga recovered quickly, showed resilience, and continued fighting through the pressure. Although Canelo remained in control throughout most of the bout and clearly won on the scorecards, the fight still went the full 12 rounds. It ended in a majority decision, with the judges scoring heavily in Canelo's favor. He also connected on nearly half of his power punches, showing clear dominance. However, the fact that he was unable to stop Berlanga raised some questions about his finishing ability despite the win. Canelo Alvarez has not scored a knockout since his 11th round stoppage of callout in November 2021, and this recent fight marked his 5th straight bout going the full distance. Because of this, some fans have started to question whether the once powerful finisher has lost a bit of his knockout edge, even though his loyal supporters continue to stand firmly behind him. While his inability to stop Edgar Berlanga did not worry his fans too much, it still added new discussion about how he performs against future opponents. After the fight, Canelo quickly shifted focus to what comes next, but during the post-fight press conference when asked about possible opponents including Terence Crawford, he initially avoided giving a clear answer, which seemed to reinforce his earlier position of not fully entertaining that matchup.
Put out an open challenge to you on the internet with Turkey Al-Sheikh calling you out. What's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comment.
Behind the scenes, however, things began to shift. Reports suggested that the financial offer for a potential Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez fight had increased significantly. Canelo had previously faced criticism for the purse he demanded, with some figures in boxing, including promoters like Oscar de la Hoya, calling the expectations unrealistic. But after Canelo's performance against Edgar Berlanga, some observers and negotiators reportedly felt he looked less dominant than before, which changed how both Crawford's side and Saudi-linked backers evaluated the matchup and its value moving forward.
Canelo, a legend recognizes another young beast. Well done, well done.
And perhaps it is this less convincing performance that has increased confidence in Terence Crawford's camp that he could genuinely challenge Canelo Alvarez. Because of that, there are now reports that Canelo's financial demands are being met more seriously than before. As one of the highest-paid athletes in boxing, Canelo's decisions are often strongly influenced by the size of the purse, and this situation appears no different. While he previously dismissed the idea of fighting Crawford, the improved financial offer on the table has reportedly made him reconsider and take the matchup more seriously than he did earlier.
Realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talk.
Now Canelo Alvarez appears more open to discussing a fight with Terence Crawford, but with an important condition that the financial terms must match his status as one of boxing's biggest stars and highest-paid athletes. For Canelo, the deal has to make sense in terms of purse and overall value before anything is agreed. This is not unexpected in boxing negotiations, especially at this level. For Crawford, this development could be the opportunity he has been waiting for, as it brings the long-discussed matchup closer to reality if both sides can agree on the final terms.
I heard him say, I'm easy work. If I was easy work, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want $200 million for Benavidez, and he want $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him, I'm a threat to...
Canelo Alvarez's renewed interest in the fight has brought fresh attention to a potential clash with Terence Crawford, two undisputed champions from different weight divisions. If it happens, it would be a major event in boxing, drawing worldwide attention and strong interest from fans. For Crawford, the stakes are extremely high as it represents a possible legacy-defining opportunity. Moving up multiple weight classes to face one of the sport's biggest names would be a defining moment in the modern era of boxing and could shape how his career is remembered.
Me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. So let's not...
While Terence Crawford is fully focused on a potential fight with Canelo Alvarez, Canelo may still choose a different opponent instead. His team reportedly has several options under consideration. One of the most discussed possibilities is a rematch with Dimitri Bivol, who handed Canelo only the second loss of his professional career in May 2022. Bivol controlled that fight over 12 rounds using his size, discipline, and technical boxing to outpoint the Mexican star. Since then, Canelo has shown interest in a rematch, but negotiations have slowed down due to Bivol's conditions and demands for the fight. Interestingly, Dimitri Bivol has said several times that he is open to moving down to 168 pounds for a rematch with Canelo Alvarez. His goal would be to prove that his previous win was not just because of a size advantage. If Bivol does step down to super middleweight, the fight would carry even greater significance and attract major attention in boxing. However, Bivol is currently scheduled for a light heavyweight unification fight in October, which makes the timing of a possible rematch with Canelo uncertain for now.
Sensational. Artur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol.
Another option for Canelo Alvarez is to keep defending his super middleweight titles against younger undefeated challengers like Christian and Diego Cho, who are both highly ranked in the division and could bring fresh challenges. Christian is known for his aggressive non-stop fighting style, which could make the matchup exciting for fans. Still, neither of these fighters is seen as a real threat to Canelo's dominance. Even with these options, the most talked about fight remains a clash with Terence Crawford, which would bring huge financial rewards and could become one of the biggest events in modern boxing. For Canelo, it would be a chance to answer critics who say he has avoided top challenges, while for Crawford it would be a major test against one of the best fighters of his era despite the size difference. The main issue would be the weight, since Canelo fights at 168 pounds and Crawford last fought at 147, so a catchweight would likely be needed, and both sides would also need to agree on the purse, with Canelo expected to take the larger share because of his star power and drawing ability.
Boy boxing fight hype. I just want to ask you, what do you think about Terence Crawford? What do we think about Terence Crawford's performance, and do you want to get a fight with him?
If the money is right, I mean...
$100 million? I heard Turkey offered you a big money.
As things stand, the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford has not been officially announced, but momentum is clearly building. With the financial terms improving and Canelo reportedly more open to the idea, many believe it is only a matter of time before serious negotiations turn into an official deal. Fans, media, and promoters are all increasing pressure, and that interest is helping push the fight closer to reality. For Crawford, this would be a major step in his career. He has already proven himself across multiple weight classes and established himself as one of boxing's best pound-for-pound fighters. However, moving up to face Canelo for his super middleweight titles would be a huge jump, both physically and competitively, since Crawford has very limited experience above welterweight. Even Crawford's previous performances at higher weights have raised questions about how he would handle bigger, stronger opponents. On the other side, Canelo has also expressed concern that beating a smaller fighter like Crawford might not bring him full credit, since critics could focus on the size difference rather than the result. This is one reason why discussions around a 9-figure payday have become part of the negotiation, reflecting both the risk and the massive attention the fight would generate. Despite debates about weight, legacy, and fairness, the matchup remains one of the most talked about possibilities in boxing today. If it happens, it would bring together two elite champions from different divisions and could become one of the biggest fights in the sport's modern era. Interestingly, Canelo Alvarez has shown he is willing to accept criticism if the business side of a fight makes sense. His recent bout against Edgar Berlanga drew mixed reactions, with some fans questioning the matchup, but Canelo moved forward anyway because the financial and promotional value was strong enough. That same logic is now being applied to a possible fight with Terence Crawford. Even though Crawford is smaller and has less experience at higher weight classes, his undefeated record and elite status make him a credible and marketable opponent. In many ways, both fighters now need each other to create the biggest possible event in boxing. At this stage of their careers, both are nearing the peak of what they can achieve individually. That is why the focus has shifted from risky fights in their own divisions to massive legacy bouts with huge financial rewards. For Crawford, this means stepping away from dangerous welterweight matchups and instead targeting a super fight that could bring a 9-figure payday. Critics argue this is more about money than challenge, but Crawford has made it clear he is after both significance and reward at this stage of his career. Following Canelo's recent fight, Crawford even posted a simple message on social media signaling his interest in stepping into the ring. At the same time, major financial backing from figures like Turki Alashik has increased the chances of making the fight happen by putting serious money on the table.
Before, and this is my opinion, I don't start talking about these things. He started and he said he respects me, but he doesn't like what we are doing in boxing. That's why I said what I said.
According to ESPN's Mike Coppinger, Turki Alashik said he is willing to offer Canelo Alvarez what he considers a fair price to make the fight happen. He added that if Canelo accepts, he wants to deal directly with him to finalize the agreement without any intermediaries. Alashik also stated that he had promised Terence Crawford a major fight and now wants to make Canelo the opponent, while Crawford is also eager for the matchup. These comments show how serious the effort is to turn this into a blockbuster event with huge global attention. The idea of direct negotiations with Canelo could also simplify the process by removing typical promotional barriers that often slow down or complicate boxing deals, making it easier to bring the fight closer to reality. 19. There is still one possible obstacle. Turki Alashik hinted that Canelo Alvarez's financial demands could become a sticking point. He said that if Canelo asks for an unreasonable amount of money, he would still make sure Terence Crawford gets a big fight regardless. Alshik made it clear that his goal is to bring Canelo and Crawford together, but he will not allow excessive demands to stop the deal from happening. With that kind of backing and commitment, talks are moving closer to reality, and fans are now wondering if this long-discussed fight will finally happen soon.